Welcome to Tavern Talk 716. Coming to you from 60 feet down in the bunker. Here are the hosts. International best-selling author Keith White Jr. and Lawrence Duran Gomez.
Hello there! Welcome to Tavern Talk 716. It seems like you people enter the conversation at the weirdest moments, but we're here, we're in the bunker, we're live, things are happening. I am international best-selling children's author Keith White Jr., and with me is...
And I am Larry Gomez, a.k.a. Duran, a.k.a. Salvatore Morocco, a.k.a. the most fashionable person on this show.
You are Larry Gomez now this week. Now we're going with Larry.
Sure.
Also, you said you were the most fashionable person on the show. The people at home cannot see everything, but I'm going to describe it to you. You are wearing a leather vest, what appears to be a 1980s MTV t-shirt, pants that actually look like a different 1980s MTV logo, and you are also wearing golden shoes. Now there we go. Golden shoes. You have once again rated the LuLaRoe catalog for pants this week. On the plus side, no squeak in my chair this week.
Hey,
so
awesome.
That's a good thing. Either way, though, this is Tavern Talk 716, and even with a break, giving him a chance to take a sip, he waited until just before the cheers to take a sip. So, all right.
Cheers. How you feeling this week, Keith?
I feel great this week.
Yes.
How do you feel, my friend?
I'm a little tired, but you know what is perfect for a nice shot of adrenaline into the bloodstream? Film and Tavern Talk 716.
And you didn't even mess any of those lines up. You got the whole thing out, although I think you called it Tavern Talk 716, but that's close enough. Why are you tired? You've been in a bunker for an entire week.
Yeah,
underground.
When you don't see the day, the sun,
The sun.
you don't get any energy from the daylight. It's always night, so you're always tired.
All right, that's fair. That's fair, but you do have the beautiful, beautiful studio lights.
Thank goodness for those. They don't really give you the UVs that you require to,
You've got
to sustain life.
Quite the wardrobe down here in the bunker with this. You're also wearing a bandana again this week. You had it the other way. Last week the tie was in the back. This way the tie is in the front, I believe.
That's accurate. That's accurate. I feel it works for me.
So the real
Keeps
question
the do in check.
is it. Do you wear the?
I
don't. I'm trying to be nice about
Larry
the way I
Gomez
ask.
over here.
I'm trying to word it appropriately as to not offend. Do you wear these outfits because they're fashionable, or are you slowly losing your mind as the weeks go on in the quarantine?
I'm not crazy.
I
I just go a little mad sometimes.
Well, we all go a little mad sometimes. But I'm asking because you've got to be crazy to look that good.
Well, the way I look at it is somebody's got to do it. We can't all
No, they don't.
We can't all be working stiffs in our suit and ties, so somebody's got to carry the other end of the fashion trend, and that's me.
Well, while I agree that we can't all be working stiffs in shirts and ties, there is most certainly a middle ground between working stiff in a shirt and tie and whatever it is that you're wearing currently. There is most certainly a middle ground. I'm generally wearing that.
Sure. There's a middle ground, and then you go about 3,000 miles to the left,
right?
And you get me.
And you get you in this. I almost feel like you're wearing this just so we have something to talk about.
I would probably be wearing this either way.
I'm thinking you were probably wearing this all day. I don't think just now is something new.
Well, my day just started, so...
Your day just started?
Yes, I have been wearing this.
Do you even know what time it is?
I don't even know what day it is.
Well, you know what day it is. It's Monday, because it's Tavern Talk 716.
Yeah, but I feel like it's... Are we in Are we in April?
It's summertime.
It's summer?
It is June.
I could swear it's only like off the top of my head, I could swear it's only like May 4th.
Well, may the 4th be with you, but it is June, my friend. And anyone watching this on YouTube, you can just look right down or up or wherever you keep your clock on your computer screen or your watch or your Xbox and see that it is, in fact, June, and we did not record this way back in May on the 4th of May. No way! Doesn't even make sense that could happen.
I'm all screwy. This quarantine's really getting me. And then being locked 500 feet underground.
Right. If the quarantine is still happening, it is crazy.
If you've ever seen my apologies, if you've ever seen Day of the Dead from 1980, yeah, I'm starting to be like those people where wake up and I'm dreaming that like hands are coming out of the walls. I'm going to stop talking now.
I was just going to let you keep telling your story. I didn't interrupt you or anything. I was giving you the free roam to bury yourself all your life.
So, back to how you're doing.
Oh, that's right. We were talking about that. I'm doing great. I couldn't be doing better. I just came out from outside the bunker. The sun was shining. I was enjoying the UV rays pouring down on me, soaking them up, feeling great.
So that air is still breathable?
No, you don't want to go up there. That air is not breathable. You stay down here.
It's not toxic down here. The toxic level is in the air.
You missed it as halfway down the ladder because it's such a long trail. As I take the mask and the suit off and I hang them about halfway. If you were to go climb the ladder, you would see about halfway up I've got a suit, a mask, an air tank, all that stuff is up there. I wouldn't recommend you.
That's about what I would figure is going on.
Yeah, the world is gone. There's really only like 5 or 6 people left. That's why we only get 20 or 30 views an episode. Is because
that's the same 5 people watching it.
It's the
that's all that's
left in the United States.
Nobody else can put shows on.
20 or 30 people is the entire rest of the planet Earth.
Is all that's left. We have this bunker.
This is the #1 show on planet Earth.
You're welcome.
So you continue to believe that. Don't check into it. Don't go outside the bunker. Everything is fine out there.
I think you could trust that because I haven't watched this show.
Yeah, you haven't.
Nor have I watched any of the wrestling that we're supposed to check out.
Oh, I was going to talk to you about that because I was actually watching some while I was sitting in my car waiting to come to the bunker. I was watching some sitting in my car, so we can talk about it. You won't have any clue what I'm talking about.
I might recognize some names.
That you might. So I watched, as we talked about here on the show, and as many folks out there have seen on the old Twitter machine, Championship Wrestling had recommended that we start watching their program, which I did. And I watched the first episode. I was watching it just before coming down here. Thank you, Senor Bottle Topper, for head locking and leg locking this bottle and getting that top off. Si, senor. So I watched the first episode of Championship Wrestling, and it's a pretty good show. It's a lot of mixture of guys you know now, because I don't think they were known then. So it's like, kind of like the stars of tomorrow today.
Wow.
Whoa! So there was
some Oscar Wildlife worthy wordplay right there.
Just in the first episode alone, I saw some guys that are now in Impact, some guys that are in the NWA. There's a guy that's in AEW on the show. So I saw Reno Scum. You know Reno Scum?
Sure.
The tag team. Do you really know who they are? No. You did a whole Vegas gimmick, so I figured maybe you knew who Reno Scum were. They're pretty big in their home area.
Back in my day, they might have been beneath me.
Wow, they were nothing compared to Salvatore Morocco and Tango Torres, the tag team of doom. How many times did those guys tag together, Salvatore Morocco and Tango Torres?
I've seen them together twice, and neither time was it in a wrestling movie.
Really? A few weeks ago, they
actually... I thought I was I showed up to a wrestling match, or an event once, and I went out to the ring. And, I don't like to have any interaction with who I'm going to wrestle. I just like to think that they're the worst person on the planet, and I'm going to go set them straight. So I walked through the curtains for this show once, and Tango Torres was in the ring. And I'm like, I'm going to finally wrestle Tango Torres. This is going to feel so good. I'm going to tear that mask off and expose how silly he looks under it.
Expose his ugly face to the world, because there's one thing I can tell you. That face under Tango Torres' mask is hideous. Hideous, disgusting, ugly, ugly face under there. I hear you. You continue your story. Yeah. ugly Tango Torres, ugly uggo.
However, much to my dismay, when they announced it was Les Jobert,
Les Jobert.
their masks are very similar.
Oh, you know, I interviewed Les Jobert once.
Did you?
For Victory One Wrestling, I did.
Tell us about that.
I don't need to tell you about it because we're going to watch it right now.
Oh, fantastic.
Keith White Jr. here for Victory One Wrestling. I'm here with Les Jobert, who's asked for just a couple of moments of your time. Jobert, 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 Jobert. Back to you.
And there you go. That was Les Jobert.
Oh, Les Jobert. Yes, he actually defeated me in that match, but it was a fluke. I wiped the floor with that peon the whole match, and he got a fluke victory. I think some audience member distracted me.
The worst part is, all we did was watch the interview. You didn't even have to see the match where you lost. We didn't see that. All we saw was the interview.
Well, the interview was probably better.
Well, the interview was excellent because I was there. But either way, so Tango Torres, we were going back to talking about his ugly face underneath there. Tango Torres and Salvatore Morocco not long ago hosted an episode of this show. Did you know that? That week when we took off?
Was it the week I thought I had Corona?
Yeah, the week when you thought you had Corona and then you opened up the case and it was actually Bud Light in there. That week, Tango Torres and Salvatore Morocco came down into the bunker and they hosted the entire show.
I had no idea.
And I gotta tell you,
they've since died then.
I don't know if they're dead or not, but they were excellent on the show.
Okay.
And that is the one time where I think Tango Torres' face was probably quite attractive under the mask.
He had reconstructive surgery?
He must have, because his head was a little wider than it used to be, and he was wearing glasses underneath his mask. And he just sounded like a really attractive guy. I'm not into guys. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm not personally into guys. But if I was to choose a guy to be into, it would have been the Tango Torres that was here last week. You know what that sound means?
It's time to go to Nickel T. Buffalo.
Oh, Nickel T. Buffalo is going to be, he's at the Nerd Terminal still in Cheektowaga. We'll give people a little backstory, because I have noticed that some people will watch one episode and not another, so they may or may not know if you're new to the show.
And we're going to come back to Championship Wrestling because we often get sidetracked on this show, but we will come back at some point.
Mostly I get sidetracked on the show because I talk a lot. So there is this store in Cheektowaga, New York called the Nerd Terminal. They do retro comics, retro toys, retro video games. There's a coffee bar. Oh, board games, absolutely. There is a coffee shop in the store. They do nights where they do movie screenings and they do toy showings. What did you say they did? A G.I. Joe toy night the one night where people come in with their collectibles. So a few weeks ago, we were back in May. We were at the Nerd Terminal. We interviewed the owner, Jason, for an episode. And then we brought Nickel T. Buffalo with us. And when we left, he hung out. And so we came back a couple weeks later to retrieve him. And he said, no, I am not leaving this store. I am going to stay here, hunker down, and I am going to make it work until this store reopens when this quarantine is finally done with. So we have been, every week, we've been going back to the terminal to check on Nickel, make sure that he's still alive, that he's still eating and sleeping and using the facilities as he should.
He has to be, he must have been removed by now.
Well, he's got to be. So I'm thinking...
This is what we're feeling going into this interview.
We got to be close. It's been a long time, like weeks and weeks and weeks we've been checking back with Nickel, and he is just there, just doing whatever he wants. And so we're going to cut to him. We're going to see what's going on. So we'll be back with you guys in just a moment.
seems is he trying to take the clothing out of the store
I believe
on his person?
No, I don't think he's trying to steal it. I think that he just is realizing that he's been in there for months and he stinks. He's a buffalo. Buffaloes are generally smelly animals to begin with.
So it makes sense to put on a Buffalo Braves shirt.
So he wanted to put on a Buffalo Braves shirt, and because he's in that store and he's very brave. He's a very brave buffalo. So he wanted to put that shirt on. He wants to show the world how brave he is. Unfortunately, he has a gigantic head, and that shirt was not made for him.
Poor Nickel.
So we're sorry, Nickel.
Things just don't seem to be working out in his favor.
They don't. He did, however, find the bathroom okay a few weeks ago. So on the plus side, he didn't have any problems with that. So we miss you, Nickel. We'll see you again next week. And we were talking something you
Championship wrestling.
That's what it was. So go ahead, you tell me about your experience with it.
My experience with it is very, very brief. I am a very busy man. I try my best. The Wi-Fi down here in the bunker.
Very busy man hanging out in a bunker.
The Wi-Fi down here. Well, you know, it takes a lot to survive in a bunker. I don't know if you know this.
I don't believe it.
You gotta find water. You gotta find heat sources.
Pee, farts.
Collect wood. Make
what is wood for?
Keep the wood burning.
What's the wood for?
Keep it warm down here. We're 500 feet under the ground.
We're 600 feet under the ground, stupid. And if you're thirsty, you could drink your own pee, and you have lots of beer. And also, if you're cold, then you wrap yourself in a blanket like a giant burrito. You get real tight, and then you just fart.
Well, there you go. He solved all my problems.
I am like a bunker professional. Also, if you have any tips for Larry, who's now Larry instead of Lawrence Duran Gomez, if you have any tips for Larry and you want to leave them in the comment down below, please do. Or right here, you'll see the old Twitter handle. Send him a message and tell him
that way. I see him immediately that way.
Yeah, because he doesn't watch the show, so he'll never see him in the comments. If you want to say something real mean or nasty about him, put him down in the comments below. If you want to say something nice or you want to tell him something he's actually going to see, then you do the old Twitter handles. I prefer the comments below because you can say whatever mean, nasty things you want about him. He'll never know.
I couldn't have said it better myself. But we were talking about my experience with Championship
I agree.
Wrestling.
There are most things you can never say about
I began watching it. I didn't get to watch any wrestling, but I do like the studio setup, and the two hosts were very charismatic, much like ourselves.
Much like ourselves. Also, I'm assuming that one or both of them, somebody offered to come on our show. I assume it's one or both of them. So I'm hoping in a couple weeks after we become a little more familiar with the product, we're going to do an interview with whoever they want to send. Because really, I'm not going to be picky. Whoever they want to send. It could be the janitor that cleans that studio after the show. I don't care. Because we can ask them questions. Right.
And I assure everyone at home, I will get my Wi-Fi situation straightened out, and I will catch these shows so I can see how much trash talk Keith does with certain bubbles and
things. I don't do bubbles. I have not done bubbles yet. I have not yet.
And I have to watch Major League Wrestling.
Oh yeah,
and I have to watch some Championship Wrestling. So I will do all those things. I assure you, I haven't met a right word as much as I am the superior slacker that we all know and love. I will get to those things, and I'm sure we'll have lots of fun.
The slacker we all know.
And love.
That we all know.
Moving on.
I've also been watching Lucha Underground. Did you...
I do know that. I watched the first season of that.
Okay, so you've seen the first season.
Yes.
I'm on season 3 currently.
Okay.
It's all free. There's an app called Tubi. Have you heard of them?
No.
Tubi. It's kind of like Netflix or like Hulu, but it's free.
Okay.
It's all ad supported. All the shows have ads and stuff during them.
Excellent.
So they have all 4 seasons of Lucha Underground on there. It's in the not on Netflix category.
Okay.
I just went on there one day. I was just looking for something.
I feel like Lucha was once upon a time on Netflix.
It was. The first 2 seasons were on Netflix, and then they pulled it before the 3rd season was done airing on TV. I don't know if they just lost the contract or what happened. But then now it's on Tubi, which is free. So you can go on there, Tubi. I wish they would sponsor us because I'm doing a lot of promoting for them right now. But you go on there.
Tubi.
There's all kinds of stuff on there. Like, it easily rivals Netflix selection. And it's all free. They got the original Transformers, 80s cartoon on there.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe's on there. Beast Wars Transformers is on there.
That one was on in the mornings when I was going to go to, like, I think it was in 8th grade.
See?
Yeah.
You can relive it. There's, like, just looking through even the animated stuff, there's so many 80s cartoons on this thing. There's, remember the cartoon Cops?
Cartoon Cops. I
Cops
can't say I
stood for
recall
something.
that
It was
one.
like an acronym for something.
Okay.
It wasn't like the show Cops. It was a toy line too, and it was like Central Operations, Preserving Sanity. I don't know what Cops. If you know what Cops stood for, put it in the comments below, so then I can pretend later like I knew what it was, because he won't ever look at the comments. So, but that's on there. There's all kinds of movies and stuff on there, TV shows. I've been just looking through it, just adding stuff to my queue. And it remembers your place, so you can come back and watch later. It's really excellent if you don't have any money, which you're down here in a bunker, so you obviously are without funds currently.
Speaking of free apps with ads, did you ever do any crackling?
I do actually. You know what? I just tweeted about Crackle not long ago.
And I loved Supermansion. Did you ever?
Oh
catch
yeah,
Supermansion?
Supermansion. I watched
Such a fun show.
on your recommendation. I watched the first couple episodes and I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. My only problem is that Crackle, if you leave an episode in the middle, Crackle does not remember where in the episode you were. And my last experience with Crackle was watching something, and I paused it. And also, if you pause Crackle and you walk away after a certain amount of time, it just starts playing again.
Okay.
Like, it only paused for so long. So I walk away and it starts playing, so I have to come back out and I pause it again. I go back to whatever, I was making dinner or something. So then I go out and I pause it, and I come back and I gotta pause it, and I keep going back and forth. Eventually I'm like, I'll just watch it later, so I turn it off. When I go back to it, it does not remember my place, so I have to keep fast forwarding and rewinding, trying to find the place, and every time I stop, it plays commercials. I had to watch 15 commercials before I got back to the spot I was in a 20-minute show.
I love Supermansion, and I did not finish the show. I feel it was for this very same reason. It's far too many ads. I feel like it was also, it's like, what episode was I on last?
Right. See, it doesn't remember where you were, whereas Tubi will remember everything. It remembers where you were, it remembers where you were in the episode. If you rewind or fast forward, if you already watched that commercial break, it doesn't make you do it again.
Tubi.
Right.
Good things.
And also Crackle, I know what the show was. It was Sequestered. It used to be a Crackle original show called Sequestered. It was only on Crackle, and they removed it, and now it's nowhere. So I never got to finish watching it. It was about
that's what COPS stand for? Crackle Original Programming Sequestered?
Wow, that is what COPS on Tubi stands for. Crackle's original program Sequestered. That must have moved to Tubi and I didn't realize it. There you go. That's a thing that just happened. So congratulations to Duran
We're detectives.
for circling back as we did a few weeks ago as well. We circled back. I'm going to take a sip here.
And usually when Keith takes a sip, he leaves the show to me. And at points where I don't have anything to discuss. So back to you, Keith.
I sure do that. I don't know. I can understand why we only have 20 or 30 viewers. This show doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't do anything. This show is purely for us. This is not for 100%, you.
100%. And it's got like 2 really good laughs per episode.
If that. And
they're really only good for us because
right.
It's usually inside joke.
Yeah, laughs for us. There are 2 really good laughs for us and 0 to 1 good laugh for you. Probably 0 in most episodes. So that's all right.
But we do our best. So hopefully 1 episode eventually soon in the near future, maybe.
Or maybe in the past.
There will be a laugh for you.
Maybe in the past.
It will be great.
This is we're episode, I don't know, 14, I think, at this point. If it's not 14, it'll say which one it is down here, but I actually think it is 14.
And apparently it's summer. The quarantine could be over for all I know. I'm not
for all he knows, it could be over. But it's absolutely not over. Don't go up there. The quarantine is still on. It's full steam ahead. 100% the core. What are you doing?
I got a rogue comic book.
Well, you know what that means.
Gotta read it?
That means you got to read that comic, and that means in a future episode at some point, I'm going to replace that comic with another awesome gift. Oh. And you're going to read it now?
Well, that's what I thought. Ooh, look. Cards.
We're in the middle of a show.
Cards.
You're going to, but we're in the middle of a show. You're going to read it now?
Okay, no, I'm going to wait.
No, you know what? I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Oh, okay. But
2 very boring minutes later.
So
you know, there's a lot of X-Men in this X Factor comic.
What's the difference between X-Men and X Factor?
X Factor.
Besides that, X-Pac is the leader of X Factor.
Well, naturally, that goes without saying. I think even the most
hate
layman of the
X-Factor, but
viewers at home know that X-Pac's the leader of the X Factor.
Right. Just incredible. In
With
the
that being
A-Train.
said, X Factor, for those who are not up on their X genealogy, And you will be once the movies come out because they're going to be amazing.
What movies?
The X-Men movies, when Marvel starts them. It's going to happen. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. So X Factor
Maybe
is
by
an
June,
offshoot of
which is
X-Men.
now.
And X Factor is a group of mutants that work for the government. They're like an FBI or a CIA version of Mutant Squad, comparable to the X-Men, but the X-Men are private and they work out of the Xavier School for Mutants, and the X Factor...
I thought it was the Xavier School for the Gifted.
Both are accurate. X Factor works for the government, so they are funded entirely by the government, and so that's that team.
So the only real X-Men teams that I'm familiar with are the X-Men, and mostly from movies and Sega games.
Okay.
And then there was this show that used to come on called
X-Men.
No, not the cartoon X-Men. It was like
Darn it!
a live action
Thought
show.
for sure.
There was a live action show.
Legion.
No, not Legion. I'm talking in like the 90s.
Oh.
It was called, I think it was called X Mutants or X. I wish I could remember the name of it. It was just like the X-Men, and I believe it was Marvel Television, but it seemed like they couldn't use any of the X-Men because Fox had the rights to the X-Men.
Okay.
So they took everyone else and then like took whoever they did have or took the X-Men and tried to like change them just enough to not get in trouble for using their own characters.
It was a live action.
It was a live action 90s X-Men show. If you know what it was, put it in the comments.
Please do,
below.
because I would love to find this. I don't recall.
Or send us a message on Twitter.
I do recall an X-Men offshoot movie.
No, not
made
movie.
for TV movie.
Yeah, no.
In the 90s, but I don't recall a TV show.
Nick Fury was a 90s made-for-television movie starring David Hasselhoff. Did you ever see that?
I did not.
You should. You should see that. You want to see the complete opposite of the Nick Fury in the movies? David Hasselhoff. He's the complete opposite of Nick Fury.
David Hasselhoff is
Sucks.
a dead ringer.
Oh.
For the comic book version of Nick Fury.
No, the comic book version of Nick Fury looks like Sam Jackson.
The original comic book version of Nick Fury.
Oh, David
I
Hasselhoff?
can find him.
No, don't
He's
do that.
here.
No, that's okay. I believe you. I'm going to find out before next week's show. I'm going to find out what that show was called. And I'm shocked you didn't see it. It was on for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. I completely drawn a blank. Unfortunately, there's a lot of things that have gone up in this old noggin, and sometimes old information's got to get flushed out. So that could have been one of those scenarios, but I think that if it involves the X-Men in any capacity, I would have retained that information.
Right. That's why I was shocked. I thought I was going to say it, and you're going to be like, that's called X-People. Well, starring that guy, and he was, Kevin Sorbo was on it, and him and Xena.
Oh, I would have definitely remembered it if Kevin Sorbo was.
It was Kevin Sorbo.
Conan?
Yeah, Kevin. It was Kevin Sorbo, and it was also Antonio Sabato Jr.
Oh my goodness!
And the two of them rode motorcycles and solved weekly kung fu crimes.
Now you're just making things up because that's practically a wet dream.
That's the greatest show of all time, isn't it? Antonio Sabato Jr. and Hercules,
yes,
the legendary
I'll
Journey,
cheers to that.
Doing kung fu and riding motorcycles.
Like Lorenzo Lamas to be the bad guy.
Oh, yeah! I would say this show's just about over because I don't know where we're going.
We're not going to top that.
Nope,
No
that's
way.
so. I guess we're all done for this week. We got nowhere. We did nothing. But you stayed for the whole journey, and so you should probably go see a doctor or something because there's definitely something wrong with you. Either way, international best-selling children's author, Keith White Jr.
And I am Larry Duran Morocco Salvatore Tang Gomez.
Tang Gomez. And
That means the Gomez.
The Tang Gomez? I don't think that means the Gomez.
In Chinese.
In Chinese, which is always what we go to on this show. Either way, this has been Tavern Talk 716. And
Thanks for joining us.
We'll catch you down the road or down here in the bunker.
Tang Gomez. I think it's legit Chinese.
I don't think it is.
Cantonese. That was it.
I think it's from Paraguay.